Hey everyone, it's Brandon. Today we're going to do an overview of the Westcott FJ200. So when you receive the FJ200, here are the things that you'll receive. You'll receive the FJ200 body. You'll receive a lithium-ion battery. You'll receive a charger and a charging cord. You'll receive a reflector with a grid. We'll get into that later. And you'll also receive a tilter bracket with an umbrella receptacle. Finally, if you open the lid of the FJ200 case, you'll receive creative gels and a USB-C cord for firmware updates to the unit. So the first thing we'll do when setting up the FJ200 is you'll put the lithium polymer battery into the FJ200, and it simply slides in and you will hear a click, like so. And the battery is now in, and so we can actually mount this to a stand using this tilter bracket. So you'll see a thumb screw. It will go into the 1/4-20 threading right there at the base, and you will spin that threading, and it only goes one direction. It only fits snugly one direction, so you'll know if you have it correctly installed because there will be no gap between the tilter bracket and the FJ200 itself. This knob at the bottom will tighten the tilter bracket to a light stand. This top knob will allow you to adjust the tilt of the FJ200. So make sure you tighten that one down. And then you'll see a receptacle for any umbrella or umbrella-based softbox that you may own. Last thing is that actual thumb screw, which is what you use to tighten the tilter into the head itself. So I have a light stand here. I'm going to mount my FJ200 to that light stand. And again, tighten that bottom knob down until it's nice and secure. So to remove this protective cover, you pull back this slide button on the side, twist the cap counterclockwise, and it just pulls off. And you now see a bare bulb. Now, the reason we designed the FJ200 with this exposed bulb in a round form is because we know that a round head will fill a softbox much more evenly than a square. So we've got the round head on the FJ200, and we've also got this reflector. Now this reflector is pretty unique in design. If I pull the end portion off, I can actually take that grid that's included off of the reflector, and I can use this reflector bare. Now this I would use if I wanted a wide spread of light, and so I can simply just attach that the same way that I removed the protective cap by turning it clockwise once I insert it onto the head. And then you'll notice this grid is a tension fit grid. It will simply have a nice tension fit on the front of that reflector if I want to use it, and I can remove that just as easily if I wanted to remove that grid. So you may notice that the grid will actually come out from this hinged piece, and we've designed this hinged piece for holding gels. So it simply opens. You can place your gel that we include or any one that maybe you have, and it simply snaps on with a magnet, and now I can include my gel right at the end of my reflector, and I can use that with or without the honeycomb grid. It's your choice. So that's how I use the attachments. Let's get into the functionality and the settings of the FJ200. Now, getting into different ways to trigger the FJ200, we have a few different options. There's an included sync port right on the side of the FJ200 that you could use third-party options. However, we have our own two options for triggering the FJ200. The first one is going to be the traditional FJ-X2m. Now, this is the trigger that we use for the FJ400. It's also a trigger that can be used to fire off the FJ80. Speaking of the FJ80, that also has a universal trigger built in, and this can trigger the FJ200 as well. So you have two different options within the Westcott ecosystem to trigger your FJ200. Those are the FJ-X2m and the FJ80. All right, so now that you've seen how to set up the FJ200, let's power it on and look in the settings. So if I rotate this, there's going to be 3 physical buttons on the back of the FJ200. The one on the far left is going to be the power button. Go ahead and hold that down until you see the Westcott welcome screen. Once the unit's powered on, you'll see that you have a pretty simple user interface. This main dial right here in the center is going to allow you to change most of your settings. And by just spinning this dial, that'll allow you to change manual power. When you press that center dial, it will get you into the settings menu, which will allow you to change your mode from manual to TTL. It'll allow you to change your sync from high-speed sync to normal mode. It'll allow you to change your channel, your group. It'll allow you to change your wireless and turn your wireless off. Now, a quick tip, if you're using any kind of wireless communication with this and triggering it off camera using one of our RT options, you definitely want to leave that on TTL all, even if you're not in a TTL mode. You can adjust your RT ID, and that is associated with tying this in with the Canon RT Speedlights. And on the second menu screen, you'll see that you can change your optical from off to on. You can turn the beep off or on. You can also change the TTL to manual feature, which is featured here. And that's a great feature in the FJ series of strobes, which allows you to kind of put your light meter aside and get your exposure by just shooting in TTL and then switching it into the manual equivalent. It has an auto off, which allows you to tie in when you want the unit to turn off. And it allows you to change your screen brightness and reset to factory settings. So that's all achieved by just pressing this center button. And to go back, I press this right button. Now, that right button also has dual functionality. When I press that outside of the menu system, it will turn my modeling lamp on or off. And I can also change the brightness to that modeling lamp. And then my left button is not only a power button, but it also allows you to test the flash to make sure it is functioning properly. So those are some of the features of the FJ200 flash, and those are some of the settings that you can change. All right, so we know that a lot of people who are using the FJ200 are gonna wanna be portable. They're gonna wanna use that battery because it gets over 450 full power shots. So if you wanna shoot in the studio, we know that you'll want AC power. And so this AC adapter can be bought separately, and that simply goes in the same location that your battery goes. So if I pop this out by releasing this button, that pulls out, and I can go ahead and put this AC adapter into the same location. It clicks in, and then I just charge it using this included cord. So that's how you use the FJ200 in a studio environment when you have AC power. That's an overview of the Westcott FJ200. If you have any additional questions, let us know in the comments below or give our customer service team a call. We'd be happy to walk you through anything. Thanks so much for watching.